Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com. Why am I already laughing? My name isn't that funny. No, what's funny is the perversity of the classical music record industry, because just when you thought we'd said everything that there needed to be said about Igor Markevich's various recordings for Warner, for Philips Decca, for Deutsche Grammophon, along comes Scribendum with another 21 CD Igor Markovich box. And remember, we did that 10 CD super budgie thing on Membrane too. I mean, there's just tons of this stuff floating around because most of it was recorded in the 50s and early 60s, and a lot of it's becoming public domain in certain territories, which means anybody can grab it. And this particular example consists of a mishmash of the Universal stuff, the Deutsche Grammophon box and the Philips box, plus, and this is the important thing, frankly, because this is the stuff that has some uniqueness to it, this previous Scribendum box, which has been stuffed in here. This is called Igor Markovich, the Concert Hall Recordings. And I need to tell you what's in here because it really, really matters. And this is still available, by the way. At least I've seen it still available. Scribendum has a very good website. You can go and see what they have floating around. And I've purchased quite a bit of stuff from them, and I've had very good luck with it. So they're very good, they're very reliable, and their prices are fair. So what we have on here, I just want to tell you straight up front, because this is repertoire that if you're a Markevitch fan, you should have. I don't know if you can just get this, and I doubt you'd want to buy this just to get that, but you should know what it is. So let's talk about it straight up, and then we're going to go through the big box, at least 18 of the discs, because the last 3 are this thing in the other box. So, first, Mendelssohn's Italian Symphony with the Japan Philharmonic, recorded in 1968. Tchaikovsky's 1812 Overture and Nutcracker Suite with the Monte Carlo National Opera Orchestra. One of those wonderful, screechy-sounding French orchestras that Markevitch could get to play like the devil. Oh, it's so much fun. And Schubert, 3 overtures. The Overture in the Italian style, the Overture to Alfonso and Estrella, and let's see what else. The Overture in B minor, or E minor, I'm sorry. And these are also with the Japan Philharmonic, and they sound awfully good. I mean, Markevitch could make any orchestra sound terrific. He really could. Then, now comes the fun stuff. Poulenc, Les Biches. Probably the best ever Poulenc Les Biches you've ever heard. I mean, we just talked about Les Biches was Poulenc's first big orchestral piece. It's a ballet. It's about nothing in particular. It's about sex. It's Poulenc. It's French. It's about sex. And it is sexy music. It is so wonderful and so catchy. And the complete ballet is great. It's got some choruses and it's terrific. But the point is, the complete Les Biches is included in that big Poulenc box we talked about, the complete works, conducted by Georges Pretre, that digital Philharmonia recording, which doesn't sound very good and which is such a, I don't know, it's so uncharacterful. It's such a bland performance. Well, this, holy mackerel. You want to hear Les Biches? You want to hear what Les Biches is going to sound like? It's amazing if you listen to this with the Monte Carlo National Opera World Orchestra of the Universe. Yes, the Monte Carlo National Opera Orchestra. These were all recorded in 1972. And they sound wonderful, these remasterings. Maybe a little bit of, sort of overload here and there. But I mean, it's good, solid, wonderful stereo. And boy, do they play the living daylights out of this music. You can tell some performances are going to be great just from a single sound. And I have an excerpt here because Scribendum has very kindly given me permission to use excerpts. I hope that there's going to be no problem because sometimes they give me permission and I get copyright claims anyway. And so if I disappear and you don't hear from me ever again, it means they've come for me because I've stolen a minute of this music. But I have permission to use it. You can tell from the very first pizzicato that this is going to be great. It's exactly the sound that Poulenc wanted. That dry, sick, pungent, tart, perky, Stravinskyan, if you want to call it that. They just go blank. I mean, there's so many ways to play a pizzicato. You have no idea. You could do it with the soft part of your thumb. You could do it like, you can sound sort of like bleh, or it can sound ping. And that's what we get here. And the rest of it is entirely in character. And it also is an object lesson in what you can do when you don't play something too quickly. When you give it time to let the rhythms tell and the timbres make their impression on you. Holy cow, listen to this. Just listen to this. It's amazing. Yeah, now that is what Les Biches is supposed to sound like. Accept no substitutes, my friends. That is the real deal. Anyway, so you get the complete Les Biches. Then you get Georges Auric's ballet in one act, Les Fâcheux, 31 minutes of it, which is quite splendid. And then on disc 3, we get Henri Sauguet. We get La Chatte, his ballet. And we get Darius Milhaud's Le Train Bleu, the Blue Train, and Eric Satie's Jack in the Box. I mean, that's really quite something. And these are all unusual bits of repertoire that you don't find elsewhere in Markevich's discography. And so I just think, personally, that if you're collecting Markevitch, you're going to want this 3-disc set if you can get it at a decent price. And rather more importantly than getting this, because you will already have the Decca Eloquence sets. And I do not recommend this over those. I mean, this is a good selection of stuff. It really is. But there is so much more in those 2 universal boxes that you're going to want to have. The Spanish choral music, the zarzuelas, some of the Berwald Singulier. I mean, there's just a lot of stuff. The Cherubini, the Gounod, the stuff with the Czech Philharmonic. None of that's in here. So, and the whole Tchaikovsky symphony cycle. So you're gonna want to get those universal boxes, but this is very good. And I did some spot checking sonically, just to see if this says it's digitally remastered. I don't know what that means in this context, but they sound identical, effectively identical. There's no difference that I could detect that was meaningful. So anyway, let's just go through this and see what's in it, all right? And then I'll leave it up to you to make up your own mind. Maybe price will be the major consideration. This was not cheap, not by any stretch of the imagination. So, but maybe it is on the Scribendum website. I don't know. I didn't look yet, and I wasn't planning on it because I'm very happy with what I have. But this you should know about. All right, so we get Beethoven Symphonies 1, 5, and 8 on disc 1. These are all with the Lamoureux Orchestra, the great Lamoureux Orchestra recordings. I'm going to put this stuff. Well, let's put it on this side. And on CD2, you get symphony. Well, you get... Okay, there you go. And that's always nice to have. I mean, his Beethoven is spectacular. But you don't get, for example, the recordings he made elsewhere, like with the Symphony of the Air and whatnot. And you don't get the mono stuff in his Beethoven. But you do get the Overture disc. Oh, wow, the great Overture disc. And let's see, Mozart's Toy Symphony. We recorded with the Children's School of Children's Music of Moscow. That's in the Toy Symphony, obviously, not the Beethoven Overtures, which is Lamoureux. Then we get the Damnation of Faust, that amazing Damnation of Faust. and Wagner Lohengrin Preludes, and Tannhäuser and the Tannhäuser Overture. I mean, whoever picked this stuff really knew what they were looking at. There's no question about it. It's a smartly put together collection. Then we have the Symphony Fantastique with Lamoureux and Auber's La Muette de Portici. That lovely overture about the mute lady where they all jump in a volcano at the end and erupt and die. So much fun. Let's see what else we got. What is this? The Bizet disc, the Carmen and l'Arlésienne suites, and also the Petite Suite. This is such a great disc too. Oh my goodness! Was it Barcelona or Madrid or somebody? No, it's the Lamoureux. Pardon me. And in the Petite Suite, it's the USSR State Symphony Orchestra. See, some of this stuff I think may not have been in the other sets. It comes from various places, cleverly put together, I have to say. Brahms 4, great Brahms 4. Kodály, Salmus Hungaricus, the logical accompaniment to the Brahms 4th. And then the Gluck Symphonia in G major. All of these, yes, these were in the other box. All of these were previously discussed. Then we have the Cherubini Requiem. Oh, we do have the Cherubini Requiem. Silly me. Here it is, with the Anacreon Overture and Nights in the Gardens of Spain with Clara Haskell, the logical accompaniment to the Cherubini Requiem. Is she even mentioned here? It would be nice. I don't see her name anywhere here. No, there is no named soloist, but that's the one it is. Strange. Just strange. The Debussy La Mer and Danse Sacrée et Profane, and Roussel, Bacchus, and Ariadne. Classic performances. CD 11, Haydn Symphonies 103, 104, and the Brahms Alto Rhapsody with Irina Arkhipova, and the Tragic Overture of Brahms. These are all things that we've mentioned before. Then we have this wild collection: Glinka, Ruslan, and Ludmila, Borodin in the Steppes of Central Asia, Lyadov's Fragment from the Apocalypse, and Rimsky-Korsakov, May Night, and the Golden Cockerel, and the Russian Easter Overture with the Concertgebouw. Oh, the greatest ever recording of that. And Scheherazade with the LSO, and the Capriccio Espagnol with the LSO. And let's see here. And Borodin's Polovtsian Dances with the Concertgebouw, the Netherlands Radio Chorus. This is very, very, very interesting. Then we have the Stravinsky stuff, Apollon Musaget, the Suites 1 and 2 for small orchestra, the 4 Norwegian Moods, and what's this, Cherepnin, yes, that Tati thing that we mentioned just a few days ago. My, it seems like forever. Then the Stravinsky Symphony of Psalms, and L'Histoire du Soldat, that's the Russian performance of those, and Tchaikovsky 4, and Swan Lake excerpts. Now, the Tchaik 4 is the LSO, but the Swan Lake excerpts are the Belgrade Symphony Orchestra, the Belgrade Symphony Orchestra with engineer unknown. Heaven knows where that came from, but that's interesting. And then we have the Tchaikovsky Pathétique Symphony and Francesca de Rimini with the LSO, and the Lamoureux in the Francesca. That's those. And let's see what else. I just dropped the box. The Manfred Symphony and the 1812 Overture with the Concertgebouw and the London Symphony, or the London Symphony and the Concertgebouw. And Mendelssohn's Italian Symphony. Oh, these are the last three. We just talked about those. These are the concert hall recordings. So that's the box. 21 CDs of Markevitch. You decide whether or not you want the stuff that's in it or not. Do try and get the concert hall recordings. Please get the Universal releases on DG and Philips. But this is out there, and it sounds just as good, and I would be remiss if I didn't tell you about it, because I know you're going to ask me if I don't. So thank you for joining me. Keep on listening, folks. Take care.